Hey friends, I'm working on a massive project right now. Basically what I'm doing is we are transferring all of our course material from one platform that holds all of our courses over to another one, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I've been working on this project now for almost about a year now, and it's been really cool digging into it because as I'm transferring this course material, I'm like, man, this is some amazing content that we have, and it can bring hope to so many people. So there was one specific conversation on mindset, and particularly this week we're talking about mindset. Today's day 89, and I came across this episode. This is actually the intro to our business systems dominations class. So if you are at all interested in hiring employees in your handyman business, this is the class for you, called the Business Systems Dominations class. And I wanted to go ahead and roll the beginning session of it. It's about an hour long, but take some time and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic, and I think it'll blow your mind. It's all about mindset, and then it's about creating the first few steps and actually hiring those employees. And I think you're going to enjoy it. So go ahead and check out this video, and if you're interested in this actual course, check out handymanjourney.com/coaching. You can set up a free consultation call with me to talk more about the Handyman Academy. That's our coaching program, or you can go ahead and get more information there. So watch this video, and we'll catch you guys at the end of this. Hey friends, welcome to the Handyman Business Systems Domination class, session 1. I am so excited that you are here with us tonight. First off, I want to say congratulations in investing in your business and taking this huge pivotal step into making the business that you want it to be. This is going to be an absolutely phenomenal night. This is going to be a mentality night. This is going to basically be the way that I explain it is we're building the foundation on the house, and then we're also going to be putting the sill plates on the house, and then on Wednesday we're going to be building the walls of the house. So welcome everybody. So excited to have you here. We got Timothy Cathy here. What's up, Timothy? Timothy was in our marketing class that we did about a month ago, and you are here with us tonight. I am so excited for it. I know at that marketing class we talked about how I wanted some guys from that class to be ready to have their business ready for this class right here. So that this class, we're going to be talking all about building systems for your business so that your business can run on those systems rather than people. And we're going to be getting into that very in-depthly through this whole class. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So we got Evan Weingarten here with us. He was also in our marketing class, so I'm super excited for you tuning in with us. So let's go ahead and dive in. Tonight's class is going to be about an hour to an hour and a half long, depending on our communications and kind of how things go. The more you guys chat in the chat section, the more stuff we will have to talk about. So I would very much appreciate you guys chatting in that. So I wanted to lay out a few kind of guidelines for this class, okay? So you guys paid for this class, obviously, okay? And I commend you for that. That is an awesome step for your business. And I want you guys to get the most potential that you can out of this class. So I need you to do a few things. I need you guys, for one, to do the homework. There's going to be homework every single night. I posted the homework for this session already in the Facebook class. You can see it under there is some topic sections. There's one that says welcome post. That's for the welcome post. There's one topic that says session 1 mindset. That's this one. You can click on that topic section in the Facebook class and access all the homework. You can even access this video here. Going forward, there will be a session 2, session 3, and a session 4 where everything will be itemized, all the homework and everything will be laid out in there. So you guys, I need you to do your homework. I'm telling you, do not skimp out on yourself and don't do the homework, okay? You guys paid for this class. I want you guys to get the most that you possibly can out of this class. So the number one thing is you need to do the homework, because you can listen to me talk to you all day long. You can listen to a teacher teach you something all day long, but you're never going to retain it unless you do the homework and actually start applying the stuff that you learn. So you'll need to do the homework. The way that you just you print out the homework, bring it to the class just like this. You fill out the homework, you take a picture of it, and you make a post in the Facebook group that we're in. So the Handyman Business System Domination Facebook class, that's where you're going to be posting your homework on a daily basis, okay? You don't get anything unless you go for it all in. And one way to go for it is by doing the homework, okay? So the next step of going for something is commenting, okay? So that's the chat forum right here. You guys need to be all in, chatting it up, talking to each other in this class, talking to me, asking me questions, saying, oh, I don't quite understand that. Or even say, hey, that's awesome. Keep going out. Like, I want those words of encouragement, okay? That will help me deliver the best package possible to you guys, okay? The next thing that you guys can do is like I said, okay? So do the homework, comment in this class. And so I have another disclaimer here is I do have a faith, okay? And it will come up because there's a lot of things that revolve around my faith. Now, I don't want you guys to get offended by that. I don't mean to offend anyone with the things that I talk about. This class is definitely not something to get offended by. We're going to be talking about being offended a little bit later. So don't be offended by my faith. If you have a different faith than mine, just translate what I say into that faith, okay? Don't let it offend you. It's going to be very pivotal for the things that I'm teaching you, so I can't take it out because it's part of me. So we got David Fink in the house. What's up, David? David just signed up here just a few minutes ago. So I'm super excited you're here, David. This is going to be a phenomenal class. And like I mentioned before, we do have homework that hopefully you guys printed out and brought to this class. We're going to be getting into that a little bit later. So throughout this class, I'm going to be making tons of recommendations about, you know, whether that might be books to read, seminars to check out, classes to take, people to call, people to contact. And I would encourage you, as another spot of taking action, is to at least check out the back of the book. Check out the website, right? You don't have to go to the seminar. You don't have to read the book. Just check it out and see if it's something that interests you. Okay. So, and I'll be posting down below. I'll be posting in the Facebook class about some of those recommendations of where you can get them and things like that. So, like we talked about before, this class is going to be a 4-part class. So this is session 1, which is mindset. We're going to have session 2 this Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All of our classes are at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So session 1's tonight. Session 2 is Wednesday. Session 3 is Friday, which is a Q&A. Session 4 is going to be next Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's going to be an awesome class because it's going to be about, session 1's mindset. Session 2, we're going to be really digging into business systems and teaching you guys how to create business systems for your business so that you can hire your next employee. Session 3 is going to be a Q&A, and session 4 is going to be all about how much to pay. It's going to be employee pay. So it's going to be all about how much I should pay an employee, how much, how much workers' comp costs, how much things like that. So you can kind of have that head knowledge going in. So that's going to be the layout for this class. If some of you guys need to change around your schedule, that's going to be this class. So the biggest thing that we all need to learn is that success, we're all here for success, right? Success is not what is seen, but it's the things under the surface that are not seen, okay? So a lot of times you might look at someone who's successful and be like, wow, I want that. Like, I want what he has, and how did he get there, Well, the way that he got there is not one big breakthrough, but it's little steps that he did throughout the day. Some people get super lucky and they do just kind of, it falls into their lap. But most of the time, success is built. It's not built overnight. It's built day by day by day, doing the little steps every single day over and over and over again. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight and really showing you guys how to implement that into your handyman business so that you can create a sustainable handyman business that lasts far beyond you. That is what we are all about here. So, okay. So tonight, I believe that action, vision, and identity go hand in hand. Okay. If you take away one of those three, it doesn't work right. Okay. So tonight, we're going to be talking about identity. Then we're going to be moving into vision. And then we're going to be moving into action. Okay. So we're not going to be getting straight into the handyman business systems tonight, although we're going to start scratching the surface of that. We're going to be building that sill plate. Tonight is a foundations night, a mentality night, which if you get it right, all of this business systems is going to go so smoothly for you if you focus tonight. Another thing, a third thing that you can do to actually go after and get what you want is take notes, okay? So sit on the edge of your seat, take notes, get a pen and paper. If you don't have one right now, go ahead and get a pen and paper out. Take some notes because I talk very fast. If you guys have watched my videos before, you guys know I get pretty excited, pretty animated, and I start talking really, really, really fast. So you're going to want to jot down some notes whenever you can, maybe little gold nuggets or things like that. But there's going to be a lot of amazing information in this class, and you're going to want to write that down, okay? So once you create a solid foundation, then you have the opportunity to have success in all things, okay? So that is the important thing, is creating that solid foundation. A lot of us can't really create what we want to create because we don't have that solid foundation. We're really going to dig into that, okay? So the idea for tonight is, and this is a very core handyman journey mentality thought, okay, is that no one will do for you what you are not willing to do for yourself, okay? And we're going to do all of this in the perspective of creating systems for our business so that we can hire our next employee, okay? So that is the whole thought process on this, is that no one will do for you what you are not willing to do for yourself, okay? And I'm going to be following my notes here, guys, because I kind of tend to get off track sometimes, and I want to make sure that I stay focused and deliver some amazing content to you guys. So pardon me if I do kind of get off topic sometimes, but I'm following my notes to try and stay on topic here, you know. Okay, so in this class, the sole ethos of this class is to explore the thought that big businesses do not run on people, but they run on systems, okay? Now, some of you guys might be like, what do you mean? Like, it takes people to run a business. I would definitely agree with that, and that's totally true. But behind the people is a system. In order for a business to run effectively and efficiently, is they need to have systems that their businesses run on. Now, one recommendation that I would highly, highly recommend that you get started on tonight, is order it tonight if you don't have it, is the E-Myth Revisited. It's a book by Michael Gerber. That's where this whole mentality of business systems domination comes out of, is that book right there. I have taken that and applied it in depth into my handyman business, and now that's what I'm teaching you guys tonight. So, and throughout this whole class. So you need to check that book out. I would love, while you guys are here, just tell me in the chat section if you guys have ever read that book, the E-Myth Revisited. I know a few of you guys have. A few of you guys were with me in my marketing class, but go ahead and leave me a chat section real quick. Let me know if you've ever read that book, if you've heard about it. But I'm telling you, you need to order it tonight if you don't have it already. One of the biggest things about success. So Timothy Cathy says, great read, helped me build systems for growth. That's awesome. Yeah, Timothy was in my marketing class, and he took my recommendation of the E-Myth. You have done an absolutely phenomenal job, Timothy, and I'm excited to get you going on this class because it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to be talking again tonight more about that handyman journey mentality, which is at the core of what the handyman journey teaches, okay? So, I guess throughout all of this, I should have started with who I am. My name is Alan Lee, and I own and operate Honestly Handyman Services here in Sacramento, California. And I also run the Handyman Journey Consulting. That's how you guys are watching me here. And I want to, so that's what I currently do. But I want to take a step back a few years and tell you guys how I got to this place, because that story is really impactful and will really help us to dissect the information for us moving forward. So, okay. So I grew up just a few towns over from here, not too far, and pretty normal life. I mean, I have a middle-class family. We grew up in a cul-de-sac, pretty awesome. I mean, we had a bunch of kids our age in that cul-de-sac, so we would, we'd play wiffle ball every night in the summer. We'd play basketball together. We'd ride bikes together. And our childhood was kind of summed up in that, go out and be home by the time the streetlights come on, right? And who else here had that kind of childhood, right? Like, be home by the time the streetlights come out. I think the world is a little bit different now, but that's at least how I grew up. So everything was pretty chill. I mean, it was a great childhood up until one day, right? And when I was 9 years old, my dad committed suicide. Now, I don't tell you guys this to make you feel sorry for me. Don't feel sorry for me. I've been through a lot of ups and downs with this whole thing. I've done a lot of thinking. I've done a lot of talking. I've done a lot of crying. The things that have happened in my life have made me who I am today. And the reason that I share that, again, is not so that you would feel sorry for me, but so that you can understand where I come from, right? So up until that day, right, my life was awesome. We'd go out, we'd play wiffle ball, we'd go to the friend's house, we'd go to, it was awesome, And when I was 9, my dad committed suicide, and my life changed in a single instant. I had no clue what suicide meant. I had no clue what, any of that meant. All I knew was that my dad was not coming home. And I'm like, well, I don't really understand that, right? So, but what happened mentality in my what happened to my mentality is that I took on this fear. I took on this fear of unknown. I took on this fear of even letting anyone I loved out of my sights, right? And some of you guys may be asking, what does this have to do with handyman business? We're going to get into that. It does. Okay. So I had this fear of even letting loved ones out of my sight. I mean, whenever my mom would go to the grocery store or whatever, I would be like, Mom, where are you going? When are you going to be back? And oftentimes I would have to go with her. Very unhealthy way of coping with that is that I just had fear about everything. I was a fearful person. And going into my adulthood, I still had a lot of that subconscious feelings that I had from when my dad died, of fear and kind of things like that, right? So one of the biggest things that I subconsciously learned, and I didn't know I learned this from him, but I have since kind of come to the revelation of that, is that what I learned from, okay, so I guess I got to get into the story of my dad here. So my dad worked for a rice company for 20 years in West Sacramento. My grandfather worked for that company before him. My grandfather worked there, got my dad a job. My dad worked there for 20 years. He didn't really like the job, and unbeknownst to me, right? I thought everything was peachy keen. I thought everything was great. But my dad did not like the job. He wanted to do something else, that was more fun or whatever, and my mom completely supported him in that. So they made a decision. I remember my mom telling me, recently that, they had written out 2 different letters. One letter was asking, I think it was asking for some time off. And one letter was a letter of resignation. And my mom said, these are your 2 letters like that you wrote, and you do whatever you feel that you need to do, right? You can give your boss one of these 2 letters, and I'm going to support you 100% either way, And he gave the boss the letter of the resignation, right? So my dad went and he got another job, and the morning that he was supposed to start the next job, this new job, he committed suicide. Now, come to find out, he had a bunch of medical issues, not medical issues, mental issues. He suffered with a lot of, bipolar and stuff like that. So he had a lot of issues going on in his head that he just didn't know how to cope with, right? And I think leaving the job that his dad had set up for him was just so overwhelming to him that he had to take actions into his own hands, So that gave me a subconscious thought of that you don't step out of the line. You always tread the line. You do what you're supposed to do, and you don't ever do something off of the line, or bad things will happen, right? I had this mentality in my mind. So when I became an adult and went into the workforce, my idea was to work for a company for 40 years, 50 years, whatever it took, retire, get the gold watch, and, go, live on a beach somewhere. Like, that was my idea of life. And it was rooted in what I call a victim mentality. And we're going to be getting into that a little bit later. It was rooted in fear. The fear of my mentality was making it so that I thought this was all I could do. All I could do was go to work for 40 years, 50 years, retire, and just retire. Like, that was it. Like, that's all my life had, right? Now, I subconsciously took that on from my dad. He didn't mean to leave that to me. He didn't mean to give that to me. And I don't blame him for that anymore. Like, I have since forgiven him and things like that. But the root of our conversation here tonight is that every fear is a lack of unforgiveness, okay? And every fear manifests itself in an excuse, okay? And we all have excuses that are forming our lives and shaping our lives in a certain way, even if we don't realize it, right? We are doing what we are doing either because it's what we really want to do and we have an amazing vision for it, or we are acting out of fear And that fear has brought us in that specific spot. Okay? And it's up to us now as adults, fully functioning adults, to figure that out. We need to kind of do a little self-diagnosis on ourselves to figure out what's going on inside of our heads. It's kind of crazy, but it is very important. That made me think, do any of you guys watch the show Psych? They always have a pineapple in every episode, so that just made me think of it because there's pineapples on here. Sorry, off topic, guys. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So Mike Benner said, a great book, read it last year and listened to the audiobook again recently. Yes, that is an amazing book. That's the E-Myth Revisited. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so let's see. Where was I here? Sorry, I got sidetracked again. Okay, so our excuses are what is dictating most of our lives. Okay, now what I want to talk about tonight is the difference between a victim mentality and a champion mentality. Okay, so and I'll give you certain excuse, or I'll give you certain guidelines for those as we go along here. But you can either you have two options in life. Your first option is to live as a victim, and your second option is to live as a champion. Okay, so the biggest thing that separates those is really how we look at life, how we can self-diagnose ourselves and realize what mentality are we living in and why are we living in that mentality. Now, most of the time, humans, we are defaulted to live in the victim mentality. Okay, our default is to live in the victim mentality. When we're driving on the freeway and someone cuts us off, right? Or we're going and then there's people are getting on the freeway and they cut us off to, get ahead of us, right? The victim mentality is what we default to. So we would say, oh, you, right? And we'd start, shouting things that our kids should not hear. And, that's our default, right? And so that comes to all kinds of things, right? So those excuses rely on a certain fear. Okay. So I hope this is making sense, guys. Leave me a chat here. Is this making sense to you guys? Are you guys getting what I'm throwing out, or do I need to explain it a little bit differently? Okay. So, and so specifically what I wanted to talk about tonight was the fears/excuses that happen within the handyman business. Okay. Now, again, we're talking specifically about growing your handyman business and hiring your next employee. That's the whole mentality of this class here. Okay. So some of the fears and excuses that people might have, some of the fears and excuses that people might have when it comes to hiring their employee, or creating systems, or even scaling their business in general. One huge one that I think is really huge right now is that, like, coronavirus has killed my business, right? Like there's some crazy stuff going on right now with coronavirus. Let's see. I'm content in my business. I am not the manager type. Like, I can't manage people, right? Hiring people costs too much money. You can't scale a handyman business. How many of you guys have heard that, right? That you can't scale a handyman business, that it's impossible. Okay. Well, in this class, we're going to be talking specifically about the things that people have done with every industry in the world. Like, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, drywallers, right? They have created systems for their business to scale their business, but it's never been done for the handyman business. That's what the handyman journey has created here, and that's what you guys are going to be getting throughout this whole class. So it's absolutely phenomenal. Okay. Another one is, I don't have time to work on my business. Now, this is a huge one. And I'd love it if you guys could put in the chat section here, what are some fears or excuses that you guys have when it comes to hiring employees or scaling a business in general? Like if you think about where your business is going to be in 5 years, right? And you want to have, say, 5, 10 employees. What feelings does that invoke into you? Does that invoke like a feeling of anxiety? Like, oh boy, how am I going to do that? Or does it invoke like a spirit of like fun or excitement? Like, what are some fears and excuses that you guys have in regards to hiring employees and scaling your business? I would love to know it. So leave me a chat form right here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So while you guys are typing in your fears and excuses, I'm going to be going on to something
more in depth about this fear and excuses. So when it comes to fears and excuses, it's very, very good to figure out which excuses we are living in, okay? And so that might be the people that I hire will just leave me dry and steal all my clients, right? How many of you guys have heard that one, right? There's a huge handyman out there that most of you guys probably know, that he does not want to scale his business. He doesn't want to have employees. He doesn't want any of that, just because he thinks that's all going to be way over his head. It's going to be too much work for what it's worth. I get people commenting on my YouTube channel all the time saying, "Hey, Alan, why do you want to hire employees? That's gonna take all your money, and you're gonna not make any money." Just like this one handyman says that I would rather just keep all the money for myself. That's what he says. Okay, so that's an excuse too, right? Are you fearful for maybe not being able to provide for your family, and you want to kind of hoard all that money to yourself? But the matter of the fact is that you can scale your business. You can scale your business. You can take it to the next level. And the only thing holding you back is your own mentality. So Timothy Cathy says, "I have been going back and forth on hiring during the pandemic and going into the winter season." Yeah, so that's another good one, Timothy. That's a great one that I didn't have written down here, was that we're going into the winter season, right? That's another one. I mean, so I got a note here that says, you may have taken advice. While you guys are putting more of your fears and excuses in the chat forum, I want to hear them. If you guys are watching this video live, leave your fears and excuses in the chat section right now. I want to hear them. So I got a note here that you may have in the past and whatever, and you may as well soon, you may take advice from someone living in a victim mentality. Okay? So whenever someone speaks something, whenever someone gives you a little bit of knowledge, whether it's marking up materials, whether it's pricing jobs, whether it's how to hire employees, whether it's filing taxes, whether it's what kind of entity you should create in your business, whether it's writing a business plan, whatever it is, you need to filter that saying. What are people saying to you? And you need to ask yourselves, are they living in a victim mentality? Do they have what I want? Because the key to success is finding someone who has what you want and doing exactly what they do, even to a copycat. Like you need to copy them, okay? Because if you do what people do, you will get the results that they have. And get this, if you do what non-successful people do, you will get that same result. You will get non-success. It's an amazing thing how it works. So the words "I can't" are straight out of the victim mentality dictionary, okay? So if you're saying to yourself or thinking, "I can't do this," or "I can't do that," or "I can't do this because someone else had bad results with it," that's straight out of the victim mentality. So let's see, Evan says, "My biggest fear would be hiring someone and then, for whatever reason, business slows down and not being able to support them." Mike says, "I have that same one at times." That is so, so true. And that's a fear. The interesting thing about fears or excuses is sometimes they're real. Okay. Sometimes they are true. But it's your choice to listen to them or not. Okay. So what it comes down to is kind of a, the weight scale, right? So you got victim mentality and champion mentality. You got your fears and you got your why, your vision, what you want to create in your business and why you want to create it. So say you think about your business in 10 years and you have 10 employees and you have now made it where you have worked yourself out of the day-to-day. So you have a vacation house in Florida or Hawaii. You and your wife go there for, a month every year or 3 months every year or 6 months every year, right? Just to get away. Like you have the freedom to travel. Okay. So if that's where your business, if that's where you want your business to be, you need to ask yourself, are your fears and excuses bigger than your desire to scale your handyman business so that you can get those things? Right? If your vision for your handyman business is to help 10,000 people, like we have we give money every single month to free kids out of the sex trade industry and to help rebuild homes that are damaged by wildfires here in California, right? So is that vision, like to help all those people, bigger than our excuses? So you could take some of yours, right? So we're going into winter, right? That's an excuse. We're going into winter, so I shouldn't hire anyone. Okay. Well, is that going into winter bigger than your vision for your business and your why of why you have created your business, or is your why bigger than your excuse? Because sometimes your excuse might be pretty big, and your excuse and your fear might be bigger than the reason that you want to create and scale this business. And if that's the case, then you need to come to grips and maybe find another something else to do because this business may not be for you if that is the case. So Mike Benner says, I worry that an employee won't treat my clients in the way I do. I always have 5-star reviews and customers always call back. Mike, that is awesome. And that's a truthful fear. I mean, that's something that everyone fears. We're going to teach you in this class, predominantly on Wednesday, how to make it so that you're basically duplicating yourself in your employee, so that your employees will treat your clients the exact same way that you do, and they will get that 5-star review, and your customers will call you back. And the funny thing is, when it happens, right, is that client will call you back and they will request your employee. They won't request you, they will request your employee, because they're like, I worked with so-and-so last time. I worked with John last time, and I want to work with him again. You know, that is what it's really about. And it's an amazing feeling when you create systems that your business runs on, where that your employees operate exactly how you want them to, you know, and that's exactly what we're going to be teaching you. So I love the interaction, guys. I love the comments that you guys are throwing out there. Keep throwing those comments out. Absolutely amazing. David Fink says, worried that employees' work is substandard and will leave me exposed. Yes, so that is another excuse. That's another fear that is true, right? Is you need to make sure that your employees can do good work. And so for a while, you need to be monitoring that. You need to create systems so that you do monitor that, can monitor that, and continue to monitor that. Mike Benner says, have one guy right now that has done a 1099 job for me. Great worker, but I'm afraid that customers would stop calling if they were left alone. They may not call back. LOL. Yeah. Mike, I'm with you. I have done my fair share of 1099s. I've been through the ringer on quite a few people. I had a whole host of 1099s that all but one of them really left me with bad reviews, mad customers, having to reimburse the job because we screwed something up, or we broke something, or we sprayed someone's hardwood flooring with paint. Like, absolutely crazy. So Mike, those are valid points, you know, that people do mess up stuff. And what you need to weigh is that, are these people messing up stuff from lack of training, or are they just incompetent? And if they're incompetent, you need to get rid of them. Our biggest thing was, like, because I was still operating in a fear of like wanting to grow my business, but not knowing how to. Okay, this was a few years back, and we had a really bad 1099 that would upset a lot of clients. We'd have to reimburse some clients, but most jobs he did okay. You know, most jobs he got paid. Like he brought in money, and you know, he was he was doing good, right? But some jobs, more than most, like more than what most of my 1099s would do, would end up bad review or mad client, and they'd end up calling me, and I have to kind of eat that, like, as the owner, right? And it just takes a learning process of like, hey, you need to stop worrying so much about the money aspect of things and start getting someone in there that is quality and follows the scripts that you have. And since then, I've created scripts, I've created systems for my my technicians and my 1099s to operate off of, so that they can operate correctly, and they bring in 5-star reviews all the time. It is absolutely phenomenal. So I want to know from you guys, are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this fear versus, or are you guys getting this victim mentality versus champion mentality? Or do I need to explain a little bit more before we dive into something different tonight? I want to make sure you guys get that foundation. Some of you guys are going to need to excavate before you can start laying that foundation, and start excavating to figure out what those fears and excuses are and how you might basically fix them, uproot them, and replace them with a champion mentality. Okay. So while you guys are leaving me a chat real quick to let me know if you guys got that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the victim versus the champion mentality. Okay. So a victim mentality might say, I can't find reliable people. Okay. I can't find good workers. A champion mentality would say, well, maybe I'm not looking in the right spot. Okay. Because a champion mentality sees the sunshine in everything. Okay. Now, this doesn't come natural for everyone. I am very much of like a sunshine-oriented person, but I still see the bad things. I still operate in a victim mentality every once in a while. And the thing about this is that this is a daily thing. You need to daily ask yourself, am I operating in the victim mentality or the champion mentality? Just today, I woke up and I said to myself, today I want to live in the champion mentality. So whatever happens, I'm going to own it, take responsibility, and move past it, okay? And I went to Home Depot, and the gal rung me up, for some fence pickets, and she gave me my receipt. Or before she gave me my receipt, I said, oh, I have a pro reward number, and she says, oh, too late. We've already ran the card, so you can't enter your pro reward. And I wanted to be like, come on, like, you're supposed to ask me if I have a pro reward number so I can enter it, right? And then instantly I'm like, whoa, champion mentality, because I defaulted to that victim mentality. You guys understand that we default to that victim mentality? When things go wrong, we blame other people, but there's such amazing responsibility and success when we start taking the blame on ourselves, right? So what could I have done differently? Well, maybe when I first got there, I could have been like, oh, I got a pro rewards number. Like there's always something that you can do to change your circumstances. You are not a victim. You are a champion. We are created to be champions. We are not created to be victims, okay? A victim would say, I'm not the manager type, okay? I'm not the owner type. A champion would say, well, how can I learn how to be a manager type, okay? A victim would say, the handyman laws in my area, my city, my town, my state are too strict for me to hire employees. Right? A champion mentality would say, well, how can I figure out ways, not necessarily to get around that, but to do jobs in a more profitable way that allow me to hire employees, even though I have those restrictions, okay? A victim mentality would say, my town is not big enough to grow my business. Now, that might be an actual, valid point. Your town might be a little too small. But so a victim mentality would say, my town is too small to scale my business. A champion mentality would say, well, have I looked at the town that's an hour away? Maybe you need to kind of uproot yourself and move somewhere if you really want to do this. If not, if that excuse is bigger than your reason, then maybe you need to get out of the handyman business and get into something else. Okay. A victim mentality would say, I lack the education. Okay. A champion mentality would say, well, how can I get more education? For instance, you could plug yourself into the Handyman Journey Essential membership, right? There are different things. You plug yourself into the Handyman Journey Marketing Funnel class. There are things that we can do to learn the information that we need to learn, okay? Another thing, right, we talked about, a victim mentality would say, I don't have time to work on my business, right? A champion mentality would say, well, make time, right? I mean, some of this stuff is so simple. It's kind of scary, right? Kathy says, push through my fear and hired a 1099 last week to help with work orders and looking for a seasonal worker to bring on board. Awesome, Timothy. That's great. So, and the thing is, right, you might have a fear of winter's coming. Winter's right around the corner, okay? So then you got to ask yourself, what if I hired someone and then I had to lay them off. What if that happened? Would that be the end of the world? Because honestly, you need to think about, so in that book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, he says that businesses that start out like startup businesses, right? Like take IBM when they first started, okay? When they first started, they did not think like a small business. They thought like a big business. They looked at, what are we going to be in 20 years? And they thought of, how would that company, how would IBM, 20 years old, operate? And that's exactly how we need to operate today, okay? So the thing about, I'm scared of hiring an employee and then slow seasons come and I have to fire that employee, right? Unfortunately, that is life, okay? Sometimes that happens, right? I'm afraid of hiring an employee and them getting me a 1-star review and me having to reimburse the whole job. Let me be honest with you. Sometimes that happens. It's happened to me. It's happened to the most successful people out there. What do you do at that point, right? Well, you either figure out if you can educate that employee or fire that employee. Those are the options. That's what a champion mentality says. A victim mentality, okay, so let's take that scenario. You hire someone, they screw up a job, they get you a 1-star review, this client's just badgering at you, you got to pay her back the full thing just to get her to be quiet. What do? A victim mentality would say, oh, that client, just a worst client, and we just have the worst clients and this and that, right? But a champion mentality would say, how can I fix this so it doesn't happen again? Okay? And maybe that comes down to firing that employee. Maybe it comes down to educating that employee. We are not a victim of our circumstances, but we create our circumstances, okay? That's the biggest thing that I want you guys to understand. So, do you guys understand that fears versus excuses? I mean, that victim mentality versus champion mentality, because it is very, very important. Out of all these excuses and all these fears, the common denominator in all of it is you. Okay, now this may hurt, but we're not in this class to give you, fluffy bunnies and rainbows. Like, we're in this class to help you grow a handyman business. That's why you've signed up for this business, okay? The common denominator is you, okay? So the common denominator in every single fear, every single excuse that we talked about tonight, from I don't have time to work on my business, I can't find reliable people, you can't scale a handyman business, hiring people costs too much money, the people I hire will leave me and steal my clients, I'm content in my business, I am not the manager type, my town is not big enough. How many times in those fears did you hear I or me? That's the common denominator, okay? I hope you guys understand. Coronavirus has killed my business, okay? I lack the education. My town is not big enough to grow my business. I am not the manager type. I am content in my business. I don't want to grow. The people I hire will just leave me and steal my clients, right? So what I got to say to get over yourself and operate as a big business, okay? That's what we're going to be teaching you guys in this business domination class. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so Timothy says successful people have failed more times than the average persons have ever tried. That is so true, Timothy. Successful people have failed more times than the average person will ever try. Ever, okay? So that's my question, right? If successful people fail more than the average person will ever try, do you want to be an average person or do you want to be a successful person? Okay? That's my question. David says, yes, they have a prejudice towards action. Very good. Okay. So we're gonna get into the building the sill plates on our house, and that's based around creating the first systems that our business can run on. Okay. Now this is going to be, it might be a little overwhelming for you, but you need to just calm down, take that champion mentality, and apply this stuff and learn more about it. Okay. So that's your homework. So this is another guy here. So this is a business organizational chart. Now, this is a sample business organizational chart, so it's not the same for every single person. In your homework tonight that you guys will print out, or if you've already had printed out, is a blank business organizational chart. This is what you're going to be filling out tonight amongst a few other things. So this business organizational chart is the first step in creating your business, your systems for your business, okay? And that revolves around sitting down and thinking about every single, when your business is done, when your business is fully created, whether that's 10 years, whether that's 20 years, whether that's 5 years from now, when your business is done, say, I'm done growing my business. This is as big as it's going to get. Not necessarily employee-wise, but business chart-wise. How many positions will be in my business, okay? So it all starts with the president, COO. That's at the very top, okay? That's what we are. We created the business, and we are the president, right? We're the president of the business, although we cannot operate in that field yet, okay? Below that, you have your managers, okay? You have your in this sample, you have your accounts manager, your service manager, your marketing manager, and your customer relations manager, okay? Now, below that, your third tier. These are the actual technicians, the people out in the field, okay? You have the person that runs your accounts. So runs your whether that is your I'm completely blanking. Your profit and losses and your accounts receivable and your accounts payable. There you go. So these are the people running your accounts receivable, accounts payable, right? It might be an accounting firm that you've hired, something like that. And then over here, underneath your service manager, you have your independent contractor, your estimator, and your technician. Now we're going to be talking all about scripts and systems for all of these technician and all these manager spots. So don't get too freaked out about that. Right now, we're just creating the positions in our business. Okay, independent contractor, estimator, technician. Those are all under the service manager. Under the marketing manager is the person who does your marketing, or it might be a marketing agency. For this instance, I have Handyman Web Design. They're the people that I would highly recommend to run your marketing. We talk really in depth about them in our marketing class. And then you have your customer relations manager, okay? Below that is your customer relations personnel. That, I believe, is the most pivotal thing that you can add to your business is the customer relations personnel. I know Timothy is talking about bringing his wife on for that. That is absolutely phenomenal. But you need to create scripts for that so that they can run efficiently. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. That's going to be more in session 2. Tonight, we're just going to be talking about creating the positions in your business, okay? So once you write out all your positions, okay, it may look different for your business. You may not want all of these. You may think, oh, my service manager can do the accounts, or my marketing manager can do my service manager and marketing manager can be the same people. For me personally, I think that this is the only way that it works for my business right here. So you need to create, so tonight in your homework, you're going to be creating your own business organizational chart. Now, the biggest thing about your business organizational chart is you need to understand that you are fulfilling every single position in your business right now. If you are the only person in your business, you are fulfilling every single position by yourself, okay? So, and the next step is creating job descriptions for each specific role in your business and basically signing them, saying, I am this position. This is me, okay? So you are, like, a lot of us just think we're the technician, right? A lot of us think we are just the technician. We're just out there doing the work. That's it, right? But at the end of the day, we're the technician, we're the estimator, we're the service manager, we're the accounts manager, we're the marketing manager, we're the customer relations manager, we're the customer relations personnel, and we are the president COO. Now, the goal of creating systems, and that we're going to teach you here in this Handyman Business Systems Domination class, is how you can get to the president COO and have all of these positions fulfilled by other people, okay? And you may even be able to hire a president so that you're not even the president. You're just the money man bringing in the money, right? That's the ultimate goal. So when my business is done, this is what it will look like, okay? And so it all depends on what your business is going to look like, and you need to create this for yourself. So the way that it works and the way that the scripts work, and we're going to get more into that in session 2, but basically you are, say, the three most common positions that we are, although we are everything, okay? We are the estimator, the technician, and the customer relations personnel. The customer relations personnel is the person who answers the phone, responds to emails, sends thank you cards, sends birthday cards, follows up with clients, asks for reviews, things like that. Okay, so we have to do that while being a technician, building the fence, replacing the faucet, replacing the garbage dispenser, and estimating all of the jobs. Those are our 3 main jobs. So in my mind, those are the first 3 things that you need to hire out. Okay, accounts manager, it's easy to hire an accountant for that. They don't need to work for you, so that saves a whole lot of workers' comp and stuff like that. Marketing manager, Handyman web design, he's not necessarily working for you. He's just a firm that you basically hire to do your marketing. Okay, so those are 2 great things there. The first hire that I recommend for everyone to do is the customer relations personnel, and that's the first script that we're going to be talking about on Wednesday and showing you guys how to create that script for yourself. Okay. And so once you create that customer relations personnel script, you now move up to the customer relations manager position. Okay. Same with technician. Once you create the technician script, you now move up to the service manager position. Once you create the estimator position script, you now move up to the service manager position. Okay. And that's how you move up the rung. So once you create the customer relations personnel script, and you have someone in there that's doing a successful job, you move up to customer relations manager. And then you create a script for that customer relations manager. That's actually going to be handled in level 2 of this class, because this one we're just talking about these 3: estimator, technician, and customer relations personnel. Those are the 3 main ones of hiring your first employees. And then once you hire a customer relations personnel, guess what? You now move up to president, but you're not fully president because you're still all these. You may have handled the customer relations. Now it's time to handle technician. Once you get that done, then you move up to service manager. Once you get that done, then you move up to president. But you're still not done because you got marketing and accounts. Okay? So it's a process that's going to take some time. And are there going to be some failures in this? Oh, heck yeah. There's going to be a lot of learning experiences. There's going to be a lot of jobs that you might have to pay out. There might be some 1-star reviews. We have created scripts and systems to try and mitigate that as much as we can, but there's always those clients that are not the easiest to work with. I mean, I know that you guys have worked with those before. So this is the gist of the Handyman Business Systems Domination scripts, okay? Creating a business organizational chart is the key, is the first step in creating these systems, okay? So Mike Benner says, if at first you do not succeed, try something harder. Oh, if at first you succeed, try something harder. I love it. I love it. Yes. Keep trying harder. That is so good. Timothy says he's hiring his wife on September 1st. That is excellent. Okay. So let's move on into our homework. Okay. So everyone should have printed out the homework that we had tonight. Like I said before, it's in the topic section. It's called session 1. You can click on that and find all of your homework there. And the way that you do this homework, for instance, this is one of your homework here, creating a business organizational chart. You're going to fill this out. You can create it just like the sample one if that's what you really desire for your business, but really think about what you want your business to look like in 5, 10, 20 years. And that's what I want you to do here, because this is serious stuff. You are designing your business. So the way you do this, you fill it out, you take a picture of it, you post it in the Facebook group, in the Business Systems Domination Facebook group here, and basically for everyone to see, okay? If you don't feel comfortable with everyone seeing it, you can private message it to me on Facebook, but it needs to be turned in by Wednesday, okay? So your class will be to fill this out. That's one of them. That's your homework, okay? Your other sheet of homework is doing the victim mentality versus champion mentality worksheet. Okay. Now this is very important, and I want you guys to think about this in specific terms of hiring your next employee or creating the business that you want, the business that you see in 5, 10, 20 years. what does that invoke, right? So what does your victim mentality say about hiring an employee? And what does your champion mentality say of hiring that employee or creating scripts or creating a business that outlasts you, right? Like that gets into a whole nother thing. If you're talking about legacy, right? Like what I'm creating is a business that my kids can pick up and run with because they have scripts designed to show them exactly how the business operates. Okay. So that's what I want you guys to do here. My victim mentality says versus my champion mentality says. Post this in the group as well. Your third sheet of homework for tonight is what I call the business system filter. There's also the same filter that we use for the marketing filter. And a business system filter is a filter that, did I misspell this here? Okay. It says a business system filter is the filter that all of your business systems get filtered through before they get implemented. It's made up of 5 to 10 core values that your business holds or stands by. Okay. So this is very important when we get into session 2. You guys need to fill this out tonight or tomorrow. For this homework, you're going to have all of tonight. You're going to have all day tomorrow. And then Wednesday until 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, you need to submit all of these 3 forms in the class by that time. So this is a very important topic because this is basically creating what core values does your business have. Okay, these are the core values that your business is going to be filtered through when we create your systems. Okay, this is basically like designing what your business looks like and what it stands for, right? So for instance, some of our business system filters, right, would be honesty, integrity, professionalism, cleanliness, fair pricing, caring more about the client than us, okay? Getting the job done no matter what. These are some of our core values. And so in this, I want you guys to write out what your core values are. Maybe you've never thought about your core values in your business, but it's due time you do, because this is how you create a big business, okay? So we may be small businesses, but with these homework and all of this that we're doing, we are changing our brain from that victim mentality into a champion mentality, and we are thinking like a big business, okay? Big businesses remind themselves of their core values all the time, and we are going to show you how to implement these core values into your scripts so that your employees can operate the way you do. So one great way to think about this is, I think it was Mike who said that, he's afraid of hiring an employee and then them getting a bad review or getting a dissatisfied customer, right? So write out all the attributes of yourself that makes clients like you, that makes them give you 5-star reviews. Why do they give you 5-star reviews? Write out those core values of what you have that you feel those clients respect, okay? That's what you're going to be writing out here. And you're going to be using those in your business script so that you can create it so that your business operates essentially without you, okay? So that is your homework tonight. So just to review, the homework between the first session, which is tonight, and the second session, which is Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, will be as follows. Make a post in the class group on Facebook with the results from your homework. Fill out the limiting form, beliefs, victim versus champion. That is this one. Okay, fill out limiting beliefs form, victims versus champion. Nope, that is not that one. That's this one. Sorry. Fill out limiting beliefs form, victim versus champion. Fill out Handyman Business Systems filter paperwork with your core values that your business holds dear and holds close. Fill out your business organizational chart and write down questions as they come and post them in the class, because Friday night's class will be a Q&A to answer all of your questions. Remember that there are no stupid questions. Statistically saying, if you have a question, statistically saying someone else has that exact same question, they may just be too nervous or scared to ask that question. So if you stand up, be the leader, and ask that question. So that is your homework tonight. Does everyone understand what their homework is tonight? If you don't understand your homework, if you don't understand the victim versus champion mentality, now is the time to ask. Leave me a chat right here if you guys have any questions in regards to the homework or anything like that. I will wait for you guys to respond there. But tonight's class has been absolutely phenomenal. I really appreciate each and every one of you and your engagement and how you guys have been sitting on the edge of your seats, taking notes and really listening in. And I really am looking forward to seeing you guys' homework. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I think it's going to be a great step to creating the business that you want and to hiring your first employee. On the next class, like I said, we're going to be really digging in. I'm going to be giving you guys scripts for those 3 positions, the estimator, the technician, and the customer relations personnel, so that those can operate smoothly and correctly. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to plug in your specific details into those scripts so that you can duplicate that into your business. So it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So do you guys have any more questions for me tonight? This has been a great night, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. That is all we had for tonight. So I really appreciate you guys, and you guys have done a fantastic job. Like I said before, great job getting enrolled into this class. That is the first step in choosing a champion mentality over a victim mentality. So great work. David Fink says, great kickoff, Alan. You are a natural at this. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just teaching from the heart, man. Teaching from the heart. So one thing that I wanted to highlight was more of the victim versus champion mentality, and something very near and dear to my heart, right? So when I decided to do these classes, I did a marketing class about a month ago, and then doing this class, right? My victim mentality really kicked in, and my victim mentality was telling myself that, why do you want to do that? Like, no one's going to want to hear what you have to say. No one's going to show up. No one's going to comment. No one's going to do the homework, right? But I went and I told my wife this. I'm like, man, I'm really struggling with this. And she turned to me and she said, who are you? And I said, oh, I'm Alan Lee. And she says, and what are the Lees? And I said, we're hope healers. You're right. Because we have this thing where whenever one of us is struggling with something, identity issue or mentality issue, we turn to each other and say, who are you, right? We do this to our daughter too. Who are you? And my daughter says, in her just over 2 years old, she says, Lee, and we say, what are Lees? She says, hope healers. We are hope healers. We have been given a mission. We feel like we've been given a mission to be hope healers, to bring hope to people. So when I turned to my wife and I said, hey, honey, I'm really struggling with these mentality thoughts, she said, who are you and what were you created for? I said, I'm created to be a hope healer. So it doesn't matter about any of those negative thoughts. If one person shows up to this class, and if I can give hope to one person, my mission is complete. That's choosing the champion mentality over the victim mentality. Is that I designed this class to originally have 10 people in it. And the big thing was, what if 10 people don't sign up, right? Well, with that, my vision is to be a hope healer. My victim mentality says, well, what if 10 people don't show up? What if 10 people don't sign up? What if I don't meet that quota? Well, my vision is to be a hope healer. So if one person shows up, that's all that matters, baby. So at the end of the day, that's choosing the champion mentality over the victim mentality, is that there's always that fear that something might not go as planned. 10 people might not register for this class. But at the end of the day, if one person does, my vision is set, right? Just so has it, we have 13 people in this class, more than the 10 that we originally planned. It's absolutely phenomenal. So I want to encourage you guys to keep stepping forward to that champion mentality. And it's not something that once you deal with it today, it's going to be set for life. It's something that you need to work on every single day. I have discovered this stuff, and I've dealt with this champion versus victim mentality for a long time. And this is stuff that just came up just recently. Today, like I said at Home Depot, right? I instantly defaulted to that victim mentality and wanted to get mad at the clerk for not asking me for my pro rewards. How silly is that? Like, at the end of the day, does it really matter? So it's a very interesting thought. So, okay. So that's a little bit of my story there. So, okay, Timothy Cathy says, does a 1099 count as a technician? No. So here, as you can see, under the service manager, you have independent contractor, which is a 1099. Independent contractor is a 1099. Estimator, technician. Technician is a W-2 employee. Independent contractor is a 1099. Okay. So what I would call a 1099 is an independent contractor. A technician, in this sense, right? In my definition of the terms, a technician is a W-2 employee. Okay. So someone who you've actually hired and works for you full time. Independent contractor is a 1099. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So, okay, guys, I really look forward to your homework, and I really want to see that. I hope some of you guys can get that in tonight. Would love to read it. I'm going to comment on it. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So you have tonight, you have tomorrow, and you have Wednesday until 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to submit that homework. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. And we will be chatting it up in the group. But I will see you guys Wednesday.
Man, mindset is fantastic. That's some really great stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to chat with you guys a little bit more. Drop me a comment in the comment section below, or go over to handymanjourney.com/coaching. Set up a free call with me. I would love to chat with you. But anyways, we'll see you guys all back right here tomorrow for day 90. Have a good one, everybody.